Hello, welcome back, friends. Hope you enjoyed the tunes.
I'm reading the comments and I'm dying.
Yeah,
Jeremy is killing it out there.
yeah, yeah. The kerning. You're right, between the A and the V is just criminal on the box. I'm glad we have it covered up here. You can just we just have it cut off, so it doesn't have to. You had a dance party. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad we had a dance party. So yes, I'll do my best at the Jackie wave as we proceed, and I think uh, Alexi's whole mindset, he's just like immediately already gone, fuck. Like he hasn't. I was like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I wasn't gonna get to. I knew this whole "you can retire now" was bullshit. Like because from his perspective, Akantha is just not ready. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know if he's been tortured. He doesn't know if he's afraid. Like he doesn't know yet. But it's like he was waiting for this like hero to come off of the out of the ship, and instead it's a person. Instead it's a human. Instead it's a person who's gone through crap. But
yeah.
He's not really looking at his brother. He's looking at the crowds, and he's really just like trying to keep on this like very rigid, face that looks. It probably can't bring himself to look happy, but tries to look official.
Cool. Yeah, and I think when the parade is over, your driver brings you around to your ancestral home in the station.
Yeah.
And are you like wearing the true sword on your hip, or do you have it in its charging charging scabbard?
I think it's on its charging scabbard. I think Alexei does not travel kind of like an important sign of office that Alexei does not travel armed in general, like unless there's a ceremonial reason to do it.
Interesting.
I think it's like a point. It's like a point of fact that like we're no longer at war. So I think he's much as like a general wouldn't in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a bodyguard who travels with you?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. It's probably like a Secret Service team, right?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's the robots, and I think that there's
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that they're the robots. It conveniently avoids the people's opportunity to challenge me to duels because I'm not armed. It makes it difficult to like weave that. Like I have to, like with all these people who want to duel all the time, if you walk around with your sword, you're kind of just asking for it. Yeah. And like you're not going to duel a robot bodyguard. So it's cool. It's a lot of it is just to try to like stave that off. But it's also like a statement that he's trying to make, like we're at peace now. We don't need to carry our swords around all the time, but that's a statement. It's not truth though. It's just what he's trying to say.
Yeah. And I think like we haven't seen the robot bodyguards, and I'm going to establish a thing about them in shock social science fiction. We would call this a minutia. As you like go through the gates for the ancestral home, I think like the robot guards like come out of cloaking, right? Like they were chameleoned, and now they're their metal carapaces go to like a gunmetal gray and no longer reflect light in a way that makes it very difficult to see them. Engage SAS field. Yeah, oh goodness gracious!
I'm just saying, y'all are putting a lot of pressure on Judd here to have the adequate level of SAS.
I'm not ready to roleplay that sassy of a robot. We will get there, but it's not going to be quite yet. I think we're dealing with a brother right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Ankatha says, I think he turns to you and says, "I'm going to go to sleep. I'm exhausted."
Did he? I'm gonna assume, like you said, that there was like an honor guard that came with him.
Yeah.
From the other, and I imagine. So from Alexi's perspective, like he needs to debrief. He needs to find out what's going on. But he's like, I can do this with other people. At least I can start. So
right.
Is it fair to assume that that honor guard is still here, if not with us? Like,
yeah,
reachable. Yeah.
I think they're probably like in the guest quarters of your.
Yeah.
Like I think there was a procession, and like your hover vehicle went into like the front gate, and theirs like kept going around and like went to a tower where yeah.
I say of course, brother. And I kind of like squeeze his hand again, and I say, I'm sure you've been through a lot. I will, and like just as like a little bit of this, like kind of trying to test the waters to sort of see like how much he's ready to engage. I say, the engineer priests will want to speak with you. Shall I arrange it for tomorrow? Or
yeah,
he give it more time.
He deflates and says, "No, let's get it done."
Very good.
And goes up to his room.
Yeah, and I think there's still like there's like two. Okay, so if this is anime version of Alexei, right? There's the Alexei that's like standing there, like totally like stiff and like official, and there's like the Alexei that's like the little brother, like peering around the curtain, being like, "What's up, big bro?" Like trying to figure out what's going on with his brother, but without trying to like, but anyway, those two Alexeis kind of like exist simultaneously in terms of what he's presenting and what's going on in his mind. In his mind, he's peering around that corner like a little kid, wondering what his big brother is up to. And I think we just kind of like cut back to like watching him go up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like
so do you want to try to like read him as he's going up the stairs? Or
I think so. I think I want to get a sense of like, I mean, ultimately, I think that question was part of my reading him. Like I said, like they want to see you tomorrow, and I'm trying to figure out. Say like I'll do it. So yeah.
Let's roll on it.
Okay. You feel like this is leadership, liaison? None of the above.
I think it's kind of leadership. I think leadership is interesting.
Yeah, because to me this feels like I'm, frankly, like looking at like another soldier and going, do you have it to get back in the fray, or are you done?
Totally. Roll 2d6. Add your leadership.
All right, because leadership is 1. No, sir. I got a quattro there.
Okay. So I think your brother gets a read on you, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets a read of like, what do you hope he'll do?
Yeah, I think he sees my disappointment, and he sees that this wasn't what I was expecting, and what I was hoping is he was going to come in and be like, Victory to the House of the Shining Serpent. I've returned. I was expecting him to come back as this triumphant leader, and I wanted him to take over. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
To rule this shit.
Yeah. Cool.
And he's definitely, he's not, at least not yet. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Do you want to go deal with the honor guard?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think they are, ducal house guard from House Job, and the ship they brought him here on is called the Angel of Death.
I like it.
And it's probably like one of the Duke's siblings who is like in charge of this operation.
I want to say that we know each other and we fought together before.
Cool. Love it.
Right? Like we have a history.
Yeah.
What's their name?
I am finding one. I'm gonna for House Job, I'm gonna rock out with some biblical names.
Yeah, as I say.
That seems to make sense. I think your house is
Got some Greek
ancient
names.
Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll yeah.
We'll litter the
cool.
setting.
Yeah, it's a sister, and her name is Mahalath. Thank you, Story Games Namebook. Maybe the best purchase I've ever made. Maybe. Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, certainly the book I've probably turned to the most. Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Cool. So yeah, I think she's a captain of a ship. So she probably like dropped you into some sieges and some bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
And covered you and like brought you back out. Love it.
Yeah.
I think her staff like let you, guide you in, and she's kind of debriefing her her officers as you walk as you enter. I think they've got like their uniforms are like unbuttoned a little bit, so like their undershirts are showing. And you can see that there was a game of poker going on, and the betting chips were bullets.
Oh wow, cool. Super contraband, but like in this space, no one's going to say anything.
Yeah, and I think like somebody like puts shoves the bullets into his hat, and everybody kind of glares at him, and she's like, she shakes her head and says, "It's a long trip home, folks. Don't be like that. We'll have more than enough time to win it back. Let me talk to the Marquis. Get out of here."
Yeah.
And they all kind of like give the proper bow and head on out. And she says, "You look like you could use a drink."
Yeah. Alexi says, "You're not wrong." And we like flashback for a second to when Alexi's about to leave, and he like kind of like idly runs his fingers along the scabbard of the true sword that's like hovering in place, and he like grabs hold of it like, maybe I should take it, and it's like, nope, I'm gonna find out. Like, I'm gonna kick someone's fucking ass for doing this to my brother, but I don't know who did it yet, so I don't want to get into a fight for no reason. I'm trying to end fighting. I'm trying not to fight. And he like leaves it behind. And then we see like him like him like when he walked in at the very beginning, we saw these guards. He like nervously twitched towards his side, like just like barely put his hand where his sword hilt would have been if he had brought it, and is like then like and like presses out a crease in his pants instead, like
cool.
you know cool. So yeah, it's just
can we say like House Job is the ducal house that you're sworn to? Does that make sense? Like her brother is your duke. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so that flashback where you like kind of like ran your hand down the true sword, that was like on your way here. You like passed it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Because I'm seriously mega pissed about my brother not being in good shape, and I want to blame somebody. And it was like, am I going to go kick someone's ass? Nope. That's not how I solve problems anymore.
Right.
I'm going to go talk to somebody instead. And so seeing all these guards, seeing these soldiers, like made him second guess that for just a second. And then, she says, do you look like you could use a drink? And he's like almost like caught in reverie for a moment as he's like thinking about like, like like I don't want to get into a fight here. And then he kind of snaps out of it. He's like, yes, yeah, I could bring the bottle. And does she? It sounds like she's kind of dismisses.
Yeah. Her crew is gone. Like it's just the two of you.
Mm-hmm. And
I think like she names, like she says like, how are things? Is it like, is it like the siege of Anchorage, or is it more like the siege of Zadar? And I think those are like two lunar sieges that went one really smooth and people just surrendered because they were starving, and then another, it was bombardment the whole time in orbit, and then like and terrible drop ships and a total disaster. And she's just like, where are you at? It's like a shorthand way of saying, are you doing really well, or are you doing
exactly
really poorly?
Yeah, and I say Zadar I think is the one that's everything went to hell in a handbasket. I say my day started like Zadar and it's gotten worse.
She pushes over a whiskey and says, there's medicine for that.
Yeah, I think he pours himself a shot and pours her one as well, and just like holds on to it for a second. Not that he's like necessarily abstaining from drinking, but like doesn't want to just get hammered, and he just looks point blank and he's like, did they torture him? Did they keep him locked in a cell without light? Did they break his? Did they do something to break his will? And he's really searching for like, please explain who did this to my brother.
He's been gone for over a decade. He's been back for 3 minutes.
He's not.
Lexi, give him some time. That's not how things work.
I didn't need 3 minutes. I didn't need 3 seconds to see that his spirit was broken.
Spirit was broken. Will you look at this from his point of view for a second? He had to get knowledge that his sister got shot down from the enemy. He had to find out information about what siege his brother was leading that he should have been leading through guards. Think about what that must have been like for the whole war. He got captured in the first naval engagement. He's up. You're not being realistic.
I think Alexei is still looking for someone to blame.
Yeah.
And he says, and I think it's going to turn to his brother. Yeah. And he says, yeah, captured in the first salvo. leaving everything to the rest of us, leaving everything to me. And he kind of is just like bitter about it. And then like he can't quite meet Mahala's glance. Like he's like looking at his drink, and then he looks up at her, and he's kind of like he doesn't buy it, but he also doesn't. He can't know better. He can't know for sure, but his take is like he's not going to recover from this. This is who he is now. This is it's not going to get better. But just give him time. You say. How long do I know how long their trip was? Here was this like days, weeks, months? What were they together a long time on the way here?
Yeah, I would say it was probably a couple weeks.
Yeah. In the 3 weeks that he was with you, did you see an improvement? Did you see him knowing he was free, knowing he was returning home?
Wow, you have not read anything about the days after a war, have you? I guess you're too young to remember the last one, huh? My aunts and uncles came home. They were a mess. My father was a mess because he couldn't leave the moon to go with them. That was during the Pirate Wars. When they came back, were things tense? Yes, things were tense. You talk to counselors and you get the fuck over it. What you don't do is you don't wait for him to. You don't make a snap assessment.
You have to make snap assessments because we have a moon full of vultures who are waiting to snap it, who are waiting to tear a piece out of him. There are so many knights that are all feuding over one thing or another, and what they need is a strong leader to set an example for them to take hold and to unify them. And if they see someone who's weak, they're going to tear them apart. I don't say this like he's kind of lying right now. It's like I don't say this because out of any personal need. I say this because he has a responsibility to the house.
Yeah.
And if he can't fulfill it, we're going to fall out of orbit even further, which is meant as a allegory, but it's also true. Like that is both metaphorical and literal.
Maybe let him deal with the Dukes when they arrive to sign the treaty. Get in one of your yachts. Go have fun. Go to a moon with some atmosphere, something you can breathe, water you can swim in. Spend a couple days without clothes on. Just get out of here.
And leave him to the vultures that will descend? No, I can't do that.
Our houses have chamberlains. We've got administrators. This shit is made to run on its own for a while. I'm not saying disappear forever. I'm saying just go see what you fought for. It's what your sister would have done.
I know. And I think it's worth pointing out that like our relationship is generally a good one and a positive one. And this is Alexei is straining it, right? Like he is he is in a terrible mood, and this is not indicative of their normal relationship. And he says
the other thing that occurred to me when she said that is that she and your sister dated.
Nice.
Which is just like, the hotshot fighter pilot and the strike fleet captain. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say, no, I'm sure Astra would have. I'm sure Astra would have done just that. And he kind of like holds back, and she would have taken you with her. And I say, I kind of go into like evaluation mode, and like I think she can sort of see like there's like the tactician brain turns on for a second. And I said, how long are you staying? Are you going to? We may be able to. Many of the lords would like to get the audience of a ducal representative. If you're here, you'll keep the hounds off his back for a time.
I can recalibrate some things on the ship for a week, if that'll help. Will that help?
And I think just because we're doing this, and just because we have these sayings, I think that there's a battle where we were kind of in the trenches for a long time, and she came through with some fire support that saved our bacon, right?
Nice.
Like where we were holding out for a long time, and then she kind of came in. The battle of serenity, if the support had actually shown up. And I say,
yeah. Do you need a name of a moon? Like what are you looking for?
Yeah, I need a name of a moon.
Yeah. Oakland.
Oakland. Yeah, there we go. Oakland. And I say, I say that'll be another Oakland. And I'll owe you just as I did then. Thank you. And then I kind of feel like business is settled.
Okay.
And I don't know if Mahalath is like let me think about this. I want somewhere where Alexei can just unload and actually enjoy their company and not be so tight. I don't think maybe it is Mahalath. I mean, she's been there and she's supported him and she's been a friend, but I feel like maybe it's now time to talk to one of the robot bodyguards that he can actually be real with. I don't know.
Cool. I think you did your part and you talked to her, and I think we're back in the true sword chamber, and you're kind of looking at the blade. It's a circular stone room with metal piping leading up to this elaborate scabbard that is also like a charging station and some kind of docking station, and sticking out of it is this I think surprisingly simple sword, right? Like it's just a very basic kind of Western medieval longsword with a cross hilt and kind of techno fantasy highlights, but it's not full on Warhammer 40K Gonzo, right? I think it's classy. and and yeah, and I think that's what one of the swords comes up. That is actually what one of the SAS bots comes up and says she's a classy one.
I
think it puts its pole arm down and like in a very human gesture, leans on it and looks at it and almost sighs and says, she's a classy one.
Yeah, yeah. Alexei's like, huh? Yeah. I mean, she's a classic. Yeah. Okay. Classy. I get it. You're not wrong. Um, and he looks back and he kind of looks over and he's like, "Remember when we knew who our enemies were? I feel like that was not that long ago."
Mm. Your brother's SASSs have been, and somebody put like what the SASS actually stands for, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think there were several. I think there were several suggestions.
The one I liked is surveillance and stealth security, which I think
Yeah,
is
there we go.
brilliant.
Yep.
I'm not going to full on call them SaaS bots. I'm not. I'm just not willing to go that far. That's a little bit too into silliness. But I like calling them SASSs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they say, you know, it says your brother's SASSs have been bonded to him. He's safe.
I'm not worried about his physical security. I'm worried, and I think
Let's get it. Then let's you should evaluate some counselors.
you don't think that's a sign of weakness. So it looks up. Having counselors do stand in for
Sir, all due respect.
you don't have to sir me in here. And he's sort of like looking around.
And like I think even like when they're not calling you sir, they call you Alexandros. They say, Alexandros, all due respect, you should get 2 counselors. The human mind is not meant to deal with the stress that you've been under for the past. I mean, how long has it been? Judd is asking. Did we say 15 years?
I think it was 15 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Said,
I think it's been like a dozen since I've seen Acantha.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe just a couple years since Astra. It wasn't that long ago that Astra, like it was towards the end.
The human mind is not meant to deal with 15 years of war stress. I doubt your brain can tell adrenaline from cortisol at this point.
And I think that there's like this very Data Picard moment where I'm looking enviously at him, going, if only I 2 yachts, 2 counselors. If only I had the ability to discern myself. You know, if only I could just turn that off. Very well. You're right. Let's go meet with some counselors. Let's take them on the yacht. Let's schmooze some important people and make them feel important by giving them a big old tour on the yacht. And we'll do some moon hopping while we'll do some moon hopping where we can survey the and we can discuss we'll take a day trip out to do a little moon hopping and discuss the situation and see which counselors are ready to take on the work. Let's set up some interviews. Let's find the right people to court. Because I've seen in chat lots of people want to see these yachts. So obviously, if we're gonna have some high important muckety mucks.
Yeah, and I think like it's something that you would do, right? I mean, we know that there are dukes incoming to begin the peace treaty process. So I feel like, you know, keeping a peripheral watch, you know, is not a terrible idea. Which yacht are you taking?
Well, I think I think Rev Space calls it out. Storm Surge. I mean, it is the opulent. It is the opulent planet hopper, right? It's the pleasure yacht, if they're, if one of the two of them is, and
Right.
it's got the beautiful nebula sails. It moves plenty fast enough, but it looks like it's just barely floating through. Like it moves so gracefully. And the nebula sails are absolutely not necessary because we're not trying to conserve. We're not trying to gather star matter to charge the engines, but we fire them up anyway because they look pretty. And, it's a big show.
Love it.
So yeah, I think I feel like, just to sort of bring these knights into it, I feel like the people who hold the highest offices are probably these knights. So the people I am potentially bringing on our staff are some of the same ones that are possibly in. Like, I don't think that there's a separate class of counselors that don't exist, that are like this high rank, that aren't also part of this like feudal system. Just meaning that they're going to be biased and they're going to have their own agenda. Does that sound right to you? That like,
yeah, totally.
I'm probably trying to pick one of these knights to help me fend the other ones off, or
cool.
as my SASS suggested, pick two.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
seems like you're trying to like read a situation here.
Yeah. I want to invite a bunch of these knights onto the yacht to on a cruise and figure out which one of them could be loyal and level-headed.
Cool. And the other kind of side goal is to like assess some counselors for your brother. Was that a thing?
Yes. Maybe I'm conflating things, but I think I'm envisioning that one or more of these knights would be the counselor. Like, would be,
interesting.
Does that make sense? Like that, it's like that they have a professional knowledge of the law, and they're. Does that? Maybe I'm kind of shrinking the world too much, but I can imagine.
No, I love it. I was thinking like a psychological counselor, but I like this, but even better. So great. Cool. Let's read a situation. I think it's a leadership role. Make a roll. Yeah. See what you get.
I got a 12.
Shit.
But now, smart law into it now. Yeah, I'm trying.
So let me know what you want to know. Pick 3. Do you want to know who's in control here? What's my best way in, out, through? Who or what poses the biggest threat? Who or what represents the biggest opportunity to do X? What should I be on the lookout for? Is there another question you got in mind?
No, those are good ones. I think I want to know who represents the biggest opportunity for someone that someone who I'm looking for, someone who can be a shield for my brother while he recovers. To help him and to stand for him when frankly I can't be, right, if I'm not there all the time. So I'm looking for someone who is, it might be several different traits. It could be loyalty, it could be level-headedness, but I'm looking for someone that I could assign as a counselor to my brother that would support him.
Cool. So love it. Yeah, I think you find a good one. You find, have we used the name Calchus yet?
No.
Cool. So you find this, and I think like in the days before the ship leaves dock, right? And I think like as we're starting, the ship is leaving dock, but where you gleaned all this information is like looking over profiles and looking at like, what battles did they fight in, and who are these people who are going to be manning the ship.
Yeah.
and who would be a good counselor for your brother. You come across a young, middling knight. His family is like in charge of like dockside maintenance. I mean, it's just something that during the war it becomes really important, but like in peacetime, the family kind of fades into the background a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can I add a
Calchas,
detail? Can I add
yeah,
a detail there?
yeah,
We were talking about the orbital, the decaying orbit, and I was saying, like, bits of the station are like getting like pulled off, like every so often, like a hull plate gets pulled off. I think that the dock maintenance family is the one who sees that the most. Like, they're one of the families
yeah.
that has like actually experienced some of the effects of us getting
Oh yeah,
pulled lower into
totally,
orbit.
totally. Yeah, they're the space station equivalent of like living in a shore town, 300 feet from the ocean, and people who say like, oh well, there is no uh, problem with global warming, and it's like, yeah, dude, the ocean's in my house. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely,
Right.
cool. I get it. I love it. And what stands out to you about Calchas, I think, and is that uh, he was captured for the first 5 years of the war, and then was ransomed back when during a prisoner movement. The ship that he was on got captured by your side's forces, and then he like was out of he got debriefed and kind of was like out of circulation for a year, and then got back into the mix.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that totally sounds like the kind of person that would um, that Alexei would look at as a good role model, or a good, someone
Cool.
who's been through that. That makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Calchas is like in charge of the Marines on the yacht, and they see to like dockside security, and they drill in case of boarding and all kinds of shit. And yeah, I think what do you do? Do you? You also have more questions for the Rita Sitch if you want them. So you've got
Yeah.
more. Drop them. I think drop them whenever you want. Like,
Yeah.
you
I'm
got
definitely going to want to know who's the biggest threat, but I think let's um I want to interact with Calchas a bit before I
cool.
kind of move, because I
Yeah,
imagine, again, this is like like couple day planet hopping, like look over all of our estates, look all of what we've gotten. Like, we've just returned to the station not that long. Like, it's still, I don't know, I think this is a kind of almost extension of the parade in a way. And so we have a little bit of time doing this. And so at some point during, I think we like cut to a scene where I'm sitting with several of the other knights, and like a bunch of them get up to go to see a big like the gas giant is like having some big light show off the starboard bow, right? And they're all getting up to go, and just as Couch is getting up to go, I like grab a hold of his hand and I say, "Wait, stay with me for just a moment, Calchas, before you."
cool.
The show will be going on for some time. We won't miss it. And I say,
Cool. And I just want to establish a couple things, and that is that the Ithaca station orbits Messina.
Messina. Okay, got it.
So you'll be leaving Messina and like stopping by Zadar and Suez. Of course, all of this is orbitals, right? So it's all in motion.
Yeah.
What's close one day is not close the next.
Right.
But your station is like in the the inner orbits, right? It's in the mix.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
it's not that far to do some moon hopping.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a 2-day trip. Day one to Zadar, and day two we stop by Suez and are back to
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
and yeah, the Eye of the Leviathan is putting on a show tonight, and the knights all go to the observation deck to watch, and you stop Calchas.
Yeah, I subconscious. Also, just to make this like extra gorgeous cinematography, there's so much light coming from the observation deck, even though we're not there yet. The whole wall behind us is like painted with light, and you can see our shadows on the wall because like it's this brilliant light show out there, and like it's still just like coming through the windows, and so
nice.
It's like you're standing in front of a movie theater, right? Like
yeah.
Like, and people outside have like goggles on and stuff like that, because you can't stare directly at it. But we're still indoors enough that it's that it's safe.
Yeah.
And I say, Kelchus, sit with me for a moment. I know your family. When we were during the war, your family provided a vital role to the houses as we docked, and as the ships docked and needed refueling and maintenance. But I don't imagine that you are. And I'm concerned that you still have a place. You still have an important role to fill now that the war is over. There's many duties that don't exist anymore, and I'm kind of getting a sense of like, are you looking for something?
Yeah.
For an opportunity.
Yeah.
And he's saying it genuinely. He's not being like. He's not trying to be manipulative. He's trying to be very open about saying like, I can see your family might fall into a situation where now you don't have any official role anymore. You could, lose your station because of it. But he kind of wants to read it. Like, are you looking for something, or are you? Yeah.
What did you have in mind, my lord?
Well, you served for 5 years, if I recall your record correctly, before being captured, and then very uncharacteristically, very uncommonly, once you returned, you re-enlisted. Is that correct? Do I have an understanding of your timeline correct? That you went back out in the fray even after you'd been captured once?
That's correct.
I imagine that took a lot of steel and determination. What caused you to go back out? You could have just ended your term. You could have just ended your tour. You had served well and earned, whatever the equivalent of a Purple Heart is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we should name that. What is it? Is it the eye? Is it like you've earned like the Eye of the Leviathan?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Yeah, you earned the Eye of the Leviathan. You could have returned and stayed out of the rest of the fighting.
Yeah. Role leader.
Cool. Do we want to say that because I'm acting on I get +1 to this because I'm acting on information I gained from reading this?
Yeah, totally.
I got an 8.
Cool. He's about to say something and he's lying. He says, well, I just had to get back in the mix. And like, you feel that like it's a lot more complicated than that. Yeah. And you know that like if families didn't have someone in the field, like they had to pay fines.
Hmm.
And his family might not have been able to afford it.
Yeah. And I say, well, I don't challenge the lie because I think it's like a lie of politeness, not a lie of deception.
Right.
It's like a lie you tell to avoid embarrassing your own family rather than like to actually just. So I say, well, not everyone in your place would have done the same, and I don't want to see your fidelity and your faithfulness to the house of the shining serpent go amiss. I need someone who has your particular experience, someone who has been captured and who found the fighting spirit to go back into the battle, to serve as a counselor for my brother. He's gone through something I can't fathom, but I think maybe you have an inkling about.
Yes, my lord. I could do that.
And there would, of course, be, I think that there's sort of like an inference that, like, by having a position, that means your family is making a wage, right? Like this is not an unpaid position, right? Like this is a way for him to bring additional revenue to the family. I don't say that, like that's
no,
implicit.
and I don't think you have to. Like I think as soon as you say the word counselor, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's an official position there. Like being the Marquis counselor is like a thing. And being on their council is a thing. And yeah, I think like you've basically just said like, hey, I could change your life and the life of your family. And he tries to keep cool and says, when would you like me to start?
I like look at my non-existent watch. I like pretend to look at a timepiece that doesn't exist, and I say, I believe we'll return to Messina tomorrow. It's basically like immediately, I'd like you to start, right? It's like when we get back. I haven't spoken with my brother about this yet. I hope he doesn't resist. He clearly needs someone who's. I believe he needs someone who has a kind of compassion that I just don't have because I don't share his experience. Importantly, and this is when I like gesture to all the other knights that are outside. He needs someone to keep your peers at bay, or to help him keep your peers at bay.
Cool.
I want you to know in advance that there's a good likelihood, though this position will have prestige and accommodations, there's a good likelihood you will make enemies by of those who oppose my brother. I want him to commit to that. I want him to know what he's getting into.
Yeah. He says, understood. Thank you. I don't think I need any time to think about it. I'm in.
I'm glad to hear. Let's go see that. And I like grab my goggles.
Yeah.
Let's go see the light show.
And I think like you all are watching the light show, and you watch this thing happen where a couple of the knights are asking each other about like family they lost. And something about it feels false. Like you're just like, what's going like, like when you hear a conversation, you're like, this is something's bullshit about this.
Yeah.
And then one of them says, yeah, when did your brother's ship go down? And he's like, oh, it was during that year where Calchas was taking the year off, right? And they're like, oh, that's right, Calchas. You just like sat tight on the station for a year, huh? Just got yourself some station friends and took it easy. And I think like he's looking at the eye and he like kind of like goes like this and like looks at them and says, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Why don't you just enjoy the Leviathan's eye and keep your dumb mouth shut? And they and like there's like some like playful guffawing, and I think you talked about like the gauntlet, right? But no one's wearing their spacesuits right now. But I think it is a thing to like take off your glove and throw it down.
Oh yeah.
And you can tell that like one of the knights, let's call him Paris.
Oh yeah, let's bring it.
Throws his glove down at Calchas and says, you want to pick it up? And you can see Calchas, like an hour ago, Calchas would have picked it up without a thought. And then like you came along and said, would you like your family to have a fortune? And now he hesitates, and like they all see it.
They all see they all see that him hesitating and looking to me like the. Yeah.
He doesn't look to you. I think he works really hard not to.
Yeah.
But he looks down at it and he's like trying to figure out what the fuck to do with it because he does not want to die tonight.
Yeah.
And
I would like to spend one of my hold right now to ask a question that may be confirming my question.
Yeah.
But what is my biggest threat here? Which of these knights is going to give me the most fucking trouble? I'm thinking it's Paris because he seems like a dick, but maybe he's just a blowhard, and there's actually someone who's smarter that's manipulating him or something like that behind that.
Yep. There is an old knight named Nestor who Paris looks up to.
Yeah.
And but you know what? I'm gonna we'll keep with Nestor. And you know that like he set this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're Nestor's not sure why, but yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I feel like maybe I do catch a glance between them, or I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think I want to I think I want to ask another question that's going to help me address the situation because I'm inclined to intervene. I think we could end this night with a duel. Can you tell me what the questions were again that I haven't asked? I can't remember.
Who's in control? What's my best way in, out, around, through? Who poses the biggest threat to me? Who or what represents the biggest opportunity for me to do X? What should I be on the lookout for?
Yeah, what's my best way? What's my best way here to keep? I'm going to say what's my best way through, and if I can elaborate on that a little bit, is like what's my best way to challenge Paris here to sort of to rebuff the knights, to keep them in check. I don't think I'm going to like scare them off forever, but I want to make a show here that will make the suitors think twice before knocking on Penelope's bedpost again.
Right.
I want to do something that's going to make them not challenge us. So like know that there's a price challenging us. I feel like I can say, like, on my ship, if you throw down that glove, I have the right to pick it up. I feel like that's a legit cultural thing to do. Is like,
oh yeah. No,
I'm your host, so yeah. And also, let's have a big old fight right next to the Leviathan, like the Leviathan on one side of us, on like some observation deck of a big spaceship. This fucking seems rad to me. So yeah.
I'm gonna escalate that. I'm gonna make it radder, but I've got an idea. Yeah.
Excellent. So I see Calchas like unsure what to do, and I think one of my SASS cloaked bots uncloaks as he like picks up the glove and hands it to me.
Yeah.
And I walk to Paris and I hold it out. And I say, I think you dropped this. And I'm holding it like he has to come to me to take it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's on, right? Like he can dismiss it, or he can grab at it, but I'm not proffering it to him at all.
Yeah. He walks up into your personal space and says, Nestor will be my second.
And I say, it only seems fitting. And this is the perfect way in my mind to cement Calchas as being part of the family. I said, it only seems fitting that Calchas be mine.
Very well. And I think like at this point, it's traditional for you and he to like separate, right? Yeah. And I think like he stays like a second too long and then turns like real cocky.
Yeah.
And I think like he came of age right at the end of the war, and fought in a couple of big battles, but you were in it for 15, like you were in it for a long time.
Yeah.
And Calchas comes to your room and says they want the duel to be on the surface of the ship. Full void gear. They'd like to do it in the next 20 minutes so that so that the eye is still under us.
I kind of look and I say,
and like I think the look on his face is like, I can't believe I couldn't talk them out of that. Like,
yeah. Right. And to be super clear, like Sean is like rip roaring ready to like slap the shit out of this kid.
Yeah.
But like I do want to like I want to believe that Alexei is not like excited to fight. He feels like this is a necessary show of force to keep these knights at bay, but like he isn't like excited about this. He's more consigned to it. But he's also like, his tactician brain on him is like, has he ever fought on the side of a void ship? Like, has he ever fought a void battle with a nebula, on one side? It's going to blind whoever's facing that direction, right? Like, there's no amount like that's it's either his super cunning plan or this kid's a fool, because the moment he catches the blind side of that, he's going to he's going to be blinded. And I say, there's no, so Alexei says, help me get it geared up then.
Cool. I think like he, like grabs his like wrist computer and like hits like, we accept, because he just had to run it by you because it's a pretty intense duel. And
I also think like Nestor and Paris did like an interesting play here, because I think there would typically be like the challenger can choose the weapon and the challenged can choose the place. But if the place
right,
you choose is on the hull of a ship, like you kind of have to be fighting with your void gear attire, right? Like there's
right,
no, like it's kind of it's like a
yeah,
tricky move of being like,
yeah,
yeah, this is how we're gonna fight, because that's the only way you can fight.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think
Yeah.
you are. I think
So,
that the cool thing is that you know, Cal just like argued for you to start out of a certain airlock that he thought was advantageous.
nice.
But like, yeah, I think it's like you get out into the airlock and walk around until you find each other, and at any time you can use comms to fucking surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're driven off the ship, you can ask to be brought in, which is a form of surrender. Uh, and I think like as he's like putting on your gear, he says, "I think they're going to try to knock you off the ship and block your comms, and say that you drifted off rather than say anything." I think that's their plan. I don't know why.
Well, do me a favor then. Don't let me drift into it. Don't let me drift into Leviathan. Um, and which is, yeah. But I'll be on the watch out. And
Cool.
yeah. So I mean, like I acknowledge that, and I'm thinking specifically about the range of my ripcord, of my lasso.
Yeah.
What I can grab onto the various parts of the hull that can get a good fast, and in case I do fly off. But yeah, we see a little cool suit up montage.
Yeah. Do you
You
have one? Do you have one last read a situation question?
No, I don't think so, because I said who's
Okay.
my biggest threat, and that was Nestor. What's my way through, and where's the opportunity? Yeah.
Got
So
it. Got it. Okay. Cool. Just making sure.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I think like the last thing they do, right, is they put is Calchas like slides the helmet on.
Yeah.
And it probably has like I imagine like actually around the rim is a serpent eating its own tail,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like clicks into place. And he bats at your blade, and you know somebody on the ship says comms check. Marquis, can you hear me?
Coming through.
The door is green. You can step out into the void at any time. In 3, 2, 1, and yeah, I think your door like is open for you to go out and step out into this duel.
Yeah, and as like a good luck charm, I like I put my hand on my hip, where they're not accessible to me because they're literally inside of my suit. But those like 3 bullets are like in my pocket, and
Oh
I put my
shit!
hand on my hip to like remember them, and then step out.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
cue Star Trek fight music. Somebody said, I think Nestor is setting I bet Salzal said, I bet Nestor's setting up Paris for the fall for some advantage. I like to think that by accepting this fight, Alexei's already lost, right? Like, this is a bad idea. Like, one should not be fighting their peers that they want to, like, he shouldn't have done this, but that's great. I'm glad for him to step in the, whether he wins or loses this fight, he's stepping in the shit. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, cue Star Trek fight music. Thank you, Paul. That is right. Yeah, so I come out and I think like the camera gets freaking the worst lens flare ever because I come out into having this giant blinding Leviathan at my back, and casting huge shadows and
Cool.
look out for Paris.
Cool. Sounds good. Do you want to, like, are you assessing? Are you moving with confidence? Like, tell me, to describe it for me.
I think we're doing this thing of, I think my inclination is to circle him. Well, actually, probably not circle because I don't want to lose the position. So my thing, is I want to get the sense of him, his intent, his confidence. And so I open up comms and I say, here's the, because even though it's super high tech, we still have like this the pop of comms going live.
Yeah.
And I say, you still have the option to apologize.
Oh shit. Yeah, and I think like you just hear like a chuckle over heavy breathing, right? Like the heavy breathing, which I think is pretty normal. Like, being out here. I think it would take a very rare person who would be not breathing heavy at this point.
Sure.
And it's just a laugh.
Yeah.
It's just a laugh.
And yeah, I'm going to keep up a little, we'll see if he responds or not, but I think I'm going to keep up a little bit of, as we're getting ready to approach each other, as we're about to clink our blades to initiate the thing. I'm still trying to size him up. I'm like, I think you joined in the 47th. I don't know. I don't remember hearing a lot of reports of void battles there. But once your suit's punctured, there's space can be mighty unforgiving.
Yeah, and I think they've got like an arming sword in one hand, and an ice pick, in the other.
Nice.
Is their go-to, and circling. Make a roll.
Yeah. I feel like this could either be under Blade or Leadership to sort of.
I feel like we're Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, if you wanna read and try to like get an idea of what's going on here, we can read. But it seems like we've kind of gone into the battle. But I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, I think if he's just like.
1 second, Sean.
No problem.
I lost you. My headphones.
Okay.
1 moment. I'm gonna run and get my wired headphones. Cool. Give me a second.
No problem. We'll vamp here for a little bit. I'll just do the thing where I switch to this view and then do that thing and say, "Hey, all."
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Damn Bluetooth.
Right. Well, was it batteries going out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if he was like willing to talk, I don't know. I think I can still size him up. I think it's still reasonable for me
Okay.
to
Yeah. So you're
see what
circling
kind of,
each other.
yeah, I'm listening to how he's
Cool.
breathing and seeing how calm he is. I'm trying to see if he's
Love it.
if it's all bluster or if he really is like ready for this. So
Love it. Yeah, make a roll. I think that is leadership.
cool. Dang, should have just gone straight plays. That's a 12.
Cool. Who's in control? What's the best way in, out, around, through? Who or what poses the biggest threat to me? Who or what represents the biggest opportunity for me to do X? What should I be on the lookout for?
What should I be on the lookout for? And I think that this comes in the form of me like throwing a few tentative salvos, right? Like this is like me sizing up his style of like our blades clacking a few times.
Yeah, I think you're like just in that like step and touch range, and super dangerous, and so do you mean like what should you be on the lookout for immediately in this fight, or what should you be on the lookout for in the greater? Okay, immediately in the fight, I think what people who try to who have like a hooked weapon and a straight edge tend to do is like pass the sword with the hook and then stab with the straight. And like you think that this kid isn't that subtle and that like that's what he's going to try to do.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna try and lure him out, right? Like the hook he needs to get me in close. I'm gonna try and like keep drawing him towards me, and I want to set him up to I want to set him up to be looking straight in the sun and land a blow.
Cool. Let's make that sword roll.
Yeah. Here's moment of truth.
What'd you get?
13.
Holy sugar.
My dice are on fire tonight.
Yeah.
This is the Sean. I don't think I've made a roll that didn't have a 6 in it, honestly. No, there's one, but yeah.
Are you going to fight for blood? Are you going to fight defensively? Are you going to seize the initiative? You can pick 4. Fight for blood, fight defensively, fight opportunistically. So spend 1 to inflict harm on an additional enemy, which doesn't really make sense here. Guard someone doesn't really make sense here, or seize the initiative, which allows you to do stuff for next round.
Yeah, I definitely want to seize the initiative. I want to keep him off guard. I think blinding him for a moment is going to leave him in a bad place. I want to fight defensively. I feel like that trying to lure him out so that I'm outside of his range makes sense to fight defensively. I think fighting for blood could mean like putting a nick in his suit, so it's
right.
No, it's not a fatal one, but it's like getting that tip of the blade. I imagine that I'm doing. It's almost like a fencing thing. I haven't really used my right hand yet. My right hand is still sort of back. It hasn't done anything. It's just held up, and I'm like, I'm used to the grab boots, and I do this trick where I lunge in, poke, just like barely puncture the suit, and then activate my back grab boot, and it like yanks me back before he can get a hold of me, before he can try and pin my blade with his.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm almost off the ship for a second, and then the grav boot like re-engages and sucks me back outside of his range.
Yeah. So I think he so you said you were fighting for blood and fighting defensively?
Yeah, I mean, if those aren't mutually exclusive options.
Yeah. So I think like in that moment you kind of cancel each other out, right? Like he parries you, but like just by the skin of his teeth he does it.
Yeah.
And then he goes to thrust at you and you're just gone.
Yeah.
But then I think we're like into the next uh go.
Right.
And you have +1 going in, another +1 going into it. You can ask another read a situation question if you want to. You could take some kind of like a little bit of a quick action for free while he's off balance. But yeah, he's kind of like trying to like get a solid grip on the ground with his magnet boot, and he's having trouble.
Yeah.
He's hitting like a groove in the ship, and he's kind of slipping.
Yeah, I think I want to. I think I want to take advantage of that and run in to and charge him to knock him off. That's gonna be my play.
Cool.
I feel like I could ask another question, but I feel like I think what I did was, in doing all this, I turned his eyes so that he was facing into the light, so he can't see me very well. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge at him, and I'm just gonna use, and I think I'm gonna roll brawl rather than blade because I don't want to actually kill him. I want to knock him off so he has to surrender.
Yeah. And I don't think we're doing like a do battle roll if we were using the Apocalypse World moves, which, who knows if we are or not. We're just like,
we're just
we're just playing a game here. But I think you're just acting under fire, right? So +10 or your brawl is 2, right?
My brawl is 2, yeah.
So it's +1 because you had the, so you're +3 roll.
Awesome. I got an 11.
Cool. Yeah, I think you describe it for me.
Yeah. So
what does that charge look like?
I think I'm running along, like you see, like I've got a major distance because I kind of grav booted myself away, and just as he's reorienting himself, we see from his point of view this sort of like this blinding light, and then just something just sort of like barely materializes out of it as Alexei comes charging at him, and it's just like Blade is moving super fast, knocking both of his aside so that I can get inside of his movement, and then I leap in a move that should be super dangerous to both of us. I just leap and smash my shoulder into his chest, knocking basically both of us to go fly off. But that's when the right hand comes up, and I shoot out the grapple and wrap it around the ship to pull myself to anchor myself back in.
Nice.
And so it looked like we both go flying off, but like I pull myself back in and send him spiraling out into the nebula, away from actually, but spiraling out into space.
Yeah, he goes spiraling out. The dual administrator says, "My lord, I'm asking you to come back in. There's a, he gives you or she gives you directions to like the nearest airlock."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I head there and I say, "Have you heard on?" And I'm like, "Have you heard on comms?" Like I'm waiting for them to say like he's called in to he's called in to be picked back up.
And she says, get back in the, I'll talk to you about it when you get back in, my lord. All due respect, I have my responsibility as the dual administrators to get you back in the ship.
All right. I like open up the comms to him and I say, ask for a pickup, Paris.
And
as I'm heading in.
Yeah, you get the feeling that like when
or
you do that,
you yield, Paris. I don't think I say ask for a pickup. It's
yeah, yield. You say yield, and like you release the click, and you know when you have a feeling on a phone call that like, oh, the other person can't hear me.
Yeah.
Like that's the feeling you get. Like comms are jammed.
Like comms are jammed.
Someone's fucking with comms.
Yeah. Is he still visible to me? Has he gone out of sight? Has he spiraled around the ship or?
Yeah. Yeah, he's out of view.
Okay. Yeah, I head in the airlock then.
Cool. Yeah, I think Calchas and the dual administrator are there to like make sure you're okay. A doctor looks over you. They get you out of that out of the void gear and into med bay because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when the dual administrator says he never called. He's going to the Leviathan. He made his choice.
And I like nod knowingly at Calchas, like I want to confirm to him like what he said was happened. And I think I want to end it here.
Yeah.
And I want to end it on a cliffhanger note if it's possible. I'm going to say I don't know that that's true, Administrator. Somebody check the comms, and I want to leave open the possibility that we reopen them and connect with them, or maybe by the time we get to them, he's awesome. Gone. Who knows? But I'm like, in fact, I think I'm even going to say with that, I'm just going to say like flat out, somebody tampered with the comms. And leave it at that. He's gone to Leviathan. Is a great death metaphor for this verse. Echoes. Yeah,
that was effing fun.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. Well, thanks, friends, for hanging out with us. This is, as you can absolutely tell from this strict playing of the Traveler Classic system that we definitely did. Judd and I are very familiar with the Traveler system.
Listen, I read the book. I read the book this week. There's a bunch of things where it says, and the referee can make a choice to handle this skill roll as they see fit. And the way I saw fit just happened to look like Apocalypse World moves.
Nice.
I mean, it was just a coincidence.
Just good refereeing.
It was just how I decided to referee and be an umpire today, and I stand by it. And I hope that all of Morgan's friends and loved ones who are listening and watching had fun, and we I don't know, had fun with Morgan one more time in a weird way.
I like to think that he would have been happy with a reluctant lord assessing his allies and his enemies, recruiting someone, giving someone who was on the outskirts a chance, and slapping some shit kid in the face for being a jerk.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I feel like he would have. I feel like he would have approved.
Awesome. I'm seeing Morgan's friends in the chat saying heck yeah, which is as wonderful a thing as I could say. I would also say to Sean, I would do that again. Like I would come back in 2 weeks and see what happens. But I don't want to put like, that's also a lot of pressure to put on you on camera. So let's talk about it off camera and we'll figure it out.
We'll talk about it. But I had a blast with this.
Me too.
This world is super cool already. I love the characters. I took notes, which is
I did too.
Which is a good thing if we did want it.
I've got a Google Doc filled with names. Yeah.
That's very, very cool. This is so much fun. Thank you, Judd, for putting this together and running this. And
no problem. Thank you for agreeing. I appreciate it. And thank you for letting me know. I feel like when Sean and I heard about what happened, we were so kind of off balance and we felt so kind of out of sorts that I didn't know if this was the right thing to do. And I didn't know if this would be seen as honoring our friend or it would be seen as ghoulish. And so I literally had to go to my friend, away from the public eye and be like, is this a cool idea or is this a terrible idea? Because I literally can't tell. And so thank you, Sean, for saying this is a good idea. I knew Morgan better than you, and he would have loved it. So that was exactly what I needed to hear to do it. And thank you everybody for being here. It was really, really cool and heartwarming to see you all in chat, and it felt like just a really nice thing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I share the same concerns and thoughts, and I was, but ultimately came around to saying like, yeah, I think Morgan would 100% say, please, I've gifted you these characters that I've made. I've offered them to the internet. Please take them and make something with them. And anyway, I don't want to get too weepy. I will miss the hell out of him. I do miss the hell out of him, and I'm really happy to do this in his memory. And and what a cool world! What a cool world you two made, and what a cool world the two of us are now exploring. So yeah. All right, friends, I'm gonna end the stream, and the way that looks is extremely awkward. Where I put up a white screen, and then I just kind of like hang out with Judd, where we're still talking and you can still hear us, but we sort of pretend like there's no more stream going on, and then